Hey. Wow, you're really just like looking at my whole house right now. That's kind of like, you know, like mind your business. So I've taken a little bit of a break from YouTube, which, you know, very few people noticed, but it does warm my heart that they did. I appreciate that. I don't think anybody understood like early March, mid-March, like what our lives were gonna look like right now, for example, or like, you know, in the next few months. I mean, we still don't know what our lives are gonna look like a year from now, but I think we have an idea that it might like not be what we thought it would. I don't know, life is just kind of hard, like in general. This is kind of difficult. You know, it's hard to like get into the mood to film something during a pandemic. Right now is actually like somehow an even worse situation for the world, for America, because of the recent exposure of like a lot of police like killing people and then being very violent to them at protests. So there's like a lot going on. But how are you doing? Like how are you doing? Like how are you? How is it going for you? You know, hanging in there, you know? What can you say? What can you say? What's going on with me? I don't know. I was supposed to be working. I'm supposed to be working right now for the scholarship that I have. But it's like I'm at home. There's just like absolutely nothing keeping me accountable right now for doing anything. There are no hours. It's just sort of like, this is your full-time thing now. There was school. I like forgot that I had school this last semester. School was honestly just terrible. It was just a bad experience. I just like could not recommend it enough. I know it's like I really need to just learn how to discipline myself would be like a strategy. I just don't want to be in school right now. I just don't want to. I'm in a class right now actually. Classes for me started on Monday. I'm taking a statistics class. I've never taken a statistics class before, so it's pretty exciting. What's it gonna be? What are we gonna learn? Statistics. Okay. Wednesday rolls around in the morning. I'm like, okay, Wednesday. It's the first day on the job. I had like a lecture to go to at 12. I was like, all right, I did it. It was good. It was really boring. I actually hated it, but that's not important. And then I was gonna have class at 2. And then, you know, it's sort of like 1:30 and like the lecture's over. I'm like, let me just go watch, like, let me go watch a movie. Let me go watch a movie. And I like didn't think about the fact that like I had class, and then I forgot. I didn't remember until 5 p.m. that I had a class from 2 to 4. That I just forgot that I was in school. Like, I don't know. What have you been doing? I can't ask you. I'm not having a conversation. I just have to talk. So let's keep talking about me, I guess. Part 1 of this video is gonna be a book haul. Why a book haul? I don't know. I have a few books here. I don't have that many books. And I've read most of them, which is like new for me to like have read most of the books that I own. So I was like, do I actually like have to buy more? And the answer is yes. So I was so excited because I read all the books that I just had. For example, one of the books that I had was Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. I bought this in July of 2016, which I know because the receipt is from Barnes & Noble. It's from July of 2016 when I bought this book. I also bought Pride and Prejudice, which I read back in March. So anyway, I'm reading this book. I'm almost done with it. It's like super depressing, but it's like depressing in like a completely different way than like the world right now is depressing. So it's sort of like I'm living in the world right now, and then I go to like escape the world, you know, like escapism into a book, and I'm just like depressed in a new way. And that way is about capitalism. It's really, I mean, it's good. It's really good. It's like really great writing. John Steinbeck is obviously, I mean, this book won the Pulitzer Prize. Like this, it's great writing. And I'm depressed all the time. I bought a lot of books on Book Depository, which is a website that is just like where you buy books that's not Amazon. Because maybe you don't want to make Jeff Bezos a trillionaire quite so quickly, you know? Like, unfortunately, Book Depository like only sells the UK covers. Like every book has like a UK price on this, which is just interesting. Maybe I just like went to the co-UK instead of the com, you know what I mean? So all these books are like shaped weirdly because of that. The first one is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. This is like her, I think this is her most famous book. And anyway, the cover, I don't know, this cover looks kind of weird. It looks kind of whack to me, but I don't care. My sister told me to read this, so okay. I read like 20 pages. All she's done is like introduce a bunch of characters and I don't know what's going on. So I've taken a break because the first 20 pages were stressful. Next one is this book, which I bought probably because it's colorful. Like I don't remember why I bought this, but I just probably got it because it's pretty. It is what is it about? It's an unexpected teenage pregnancy. I honestly I don't think I read the synopsis before I bought this. It seems very like poetic kind of writing, which I think I'll enjoy. The next one is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Donna Tartt also wrote The Goldfinch, which I read when I was a senior in high school, and that book won the Pulitzer Prize and I really enjoyed it, and I've heard that this one's like even better, so I just figured, you know, why not? This book is like kind of weird and small though. It's because the UK is just sort of the last book in my book haul. I'm extremely excited to announce, and it's called Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. I don't know anything about this book except for these twins apparently catch on fire sometimes, and there's a girl that's like babysitting them, and the cover is just so cute. I would just look at it. I definitely like looked at all the books on Goodreads, I think, to make sure that like other people liked them before I bought them. So hopefully I won't hate them. Did you want to talk more about books? Because like I have more. I was gonna film like a what I read, what I've been reading video, which I guess this is. I'm just gonna really quickly go through some books that I read. The first one was this. This book has gotten amazing reviews and I read it and it was like whatever. Like, it literally just didn't. It was just like every other YA book was, I mean other people love it. It's great. I personally thought it was stupid, but that's okay. The next book I read was Dig. When did I read this? I read this like beginning of quarantine. I also read this book by A.S. King. I've read like 2 or 3 books by A.S. King and I only really liked one of them, but I really liked it. I keep reading her other books and hoping that I will like them as much, and they're all just sort of like, alright. This one is pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. The cover's pretty cute, it's pretty meaningful. It also goes by very quickly. It has these really fun like little, because it's about roots. Figuratively and literally. Dig! Because you dig to get to some metaphor. She's so coy like that. I read this book. This is a book of poetry by Charles Simic. Yeah, I read poetry. What do you have to say about it? Poetry is like, I mean, it's gonna be pretty hit or miss for everyone. Charles Simic, you can look up his poems online. They're very, I would say, like within grasp of the normal person. And what I mean is like they're accessible to people. Like you read it and you can kind of like understand where he's going or just like appreciate like the little phrases that he uses. So I really liked it because I don't know shit about poetry. There's another book of poetry I bought called Night Sky with Exit Wounds. I bought this a few months ago because it seemed to get like really high reviews, but it's very like, I would say contemporary. Like it has a lot of these the lines are like, and I read it and I don't know what he means most of the time, and so I'm very confused, and some of the words are nice, but I'm so confused, like I don't even know what he is getting at, so that's like not the best. The other book that I'm reading, I've had this for a while, I bought it from Half Price Books. It's called Why Awake Early by Mary Oliver. Mary Oliver is like a nature poet, I think. I really like it. It's very nice. A lot of people in my religion like quote Mary Oliver a lot because she's sort of hippie and like cool, you know? I really have to go. Like I need to go grocery shopping. I'm gonna continue this later. Okay. It's been a couple days, and I've decided this is a reading vlog. Really quickly, I'm just gonna give a little update. What's been happening? What's been going on? Welcome to my room. So I finished Grapes of Wrath. It took me a while, but the last 200 pages I read in like 3 days. So it was like, I just didn't give it the love and the attention that it deserved for too long. But I finished it and I'm very proud of myself for doing that. And it was a really, really great story. The story is kind of depressing, like just in nature it is like depressing. So I kind of expected it to go downhill, and then I kept expecting it to go downhill. So I wasn't really like enjoying my reading experience because I just kept expecting it to like get even worse, but it didn't end up actually that terribly for the family. So yeah, this was a great book. literary classic. John Steinbeck is just like a really like a good writer. Also, there's like a really long introduction at the beginning of this book, which I read after reading it, because I'm a nerd, and I learned a lot about sort of his writing process, what led up to this. He like actually wrote this novel out by hand in 3 months, and then his wife like typed it for him, which was just crazy. Also, like, this was like the 3rd time he had tried to write something about like the Great Depression. The Great Depression. It was like the 3rd time he had tried to write about the Great Depression and people migrating west, and the first 2 times was just like unsuccessful. But then he got the knowledge that he needed to write America's favorite classic novel that is also communist propaganda at the same time, which sort of added a little benefit in there. I would have described this as communist propaganda. Alright, so that's my update. I look bald, but I'm not, so just like remember that. Okay, so it's a new day and it's a new book update. I am technically working right now, but I have been spending a lot of time instead of working just like reading during the day. After Grapes of Wrath, I read Red at the Bone by Jacqueline Woodson. It's hard to describe what it's about. It's about a black girl and her mother, her family, and her relationships with the rest of her family. It's told from like multiple perspectives, so it's told from the perspective of her and her father and her mother, and also like her grandparents. It's like super short. It's less than 200 pages. I'm pretty sure Oprah recommended this, and that's why I read it, or that's why I bought it. It's very pretty. Like, it's, you know, physically pretty, but then the novel is also pretty. It almost doesn't seem like a novel. It seems like poetry or like a short story. It talks about like a bunch of little issues, but I don't feel like any of them were explored very deeply, because it almost seems to be like a portrait instead of like a story. Like, you know the whole story from the beginning, because the story is just about this pregnancy that you know about from the beginning, but then it's sort of like a lot of the book is told in like flashbacks, which I personally hate when authors do that, because then it's like you're reading parts of the plot that you already know about most of the time. So personally I don't like it. I don't know. I mean, it was a nice book. It was a pretty book. I don't think it will like stick with me. I did like how they talked about class. I think class is such an interesting thing to explore in America, especially among people of color. Also, like, religion is mentioned, which I think was really interesting to read. Yeah, I don't know, it was just like a nice book. I read it in like a day. I wanted it to be a little bit more in depth. I wanted there to be like a little bit more story. Now I am reading And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. This book is shaking me to my core. Where am I? Oh god. Let me not accidentally spoil myself. Okay, I'm on page 200, so I'm like nearly done with it. It's just gone by so quickly. I read the first chapter and I was sort of like, there are so many people. I was like really scared and like nervous to read it, but I just kept reading it and it was fine. Like, it was just completely fine. The first murder happens like very early on. Like, they just dive right into it. Once it got going, like, it really like got going. I know that everybody says that about this book, but I just like wasn't expecting it to just sort of like picked me up, like it scooped me up, taken me with it, and I appreciate it. Especially after reading Grapes of Wrath, I just really appreciate like the pacing and the size of this book. I mean, it's tiny. I think I've also been reading it for about 2 days, and I'm gonna finish it like when I finish this. I just wanted to like film like a progress, even though I'm basically done with it. So if you didn't know, this story is a murder mystery about 10 people that go to an island, and then people start dying, and then they're trying to figure out who it is, because it like has to be one of them, because there's nobody else on this island, but they're like, but it really, yeah, like, it doesn't seem like it's one of us. I'm not a mystery person. I don't like mysteries. They're always so boring. It's usually like there's a detective, and I usually just like don't care that much about the detective, because fuck 12. And there are no detectives in this one, so everyone's a suspect. brilliant. I think this cover is just tragic. I wish I'd gotten the US version, but that's what you get for shopping on Book Depository. I also went ahead, oh gosh, I went ahead and I bought more books, even though I still have 2 more from my haul to read. I think I bought 4, and the first one just came in. It is Beach Read by Emily Henry. I have seen this book a little bit around. It kind of seems like a book that like the moms in Big Little Lies would read, meaning like that this book is for like white, upper class, like middle-aged mothers. And I just thought I would really get a kick out of it. Okay, so I just finished And Then There Were None. It was a good one. So well written. It was so well thought out. I'm just surprised that she pulled that off so well. I spent the entire book just thinking like, who is it? What is it? What's going on? I need to know, and I need to know right now. So it was a very quick read, very satisfying. Like at the end, I'm happy with it. Okay, hello. This video needs to end. I'm done editing it, but I wanted to give one last update. After reading whatever book I just finished, And Then There Were None, then I also started The Secret History by Donna Tartt. She's the author who also wrote The Goldfinch, which won the okay, how do I say this word? Pulitzer Prize. I think that's how I say it. I think she won the Pulitzer Prize in like 2013 for The Goldfinch. And this book she wrote in like 1992. I'm like 100 pages into it so far. And I love it. I'm obsessed with it. It's amazing. Thoroughly enjoying myself while I'm reading it because I think Donna Tartt just gets me. I think she knows who I am and she knows what I want and she gives it to me, and I appreciate that. The story in The Goldfinch was just really long and drawn out and complicated, and the book itself was definitely like way too long. Like it's a huge book. It took me a month to read, and I was reading it like very regularly in high school. I think Donna Tartt's writing style is honestly just so effective for me. This book is about like 6 college students. It's told from the perspective of just one of them. They're at this like very tiny liberal arts college in Vermont. They're all studying Greek, and so there's a lot of reference to like the classics, Greek and Latin. And this seems kind of like a highbrow, like a novel where everyone's just trying to prove how much they know about like literature, like Greek literature. So it's like a little weird. I just enjoy the characters so much. They're also well developed. I think that was one of the strengths of The Goldfinch too, is that the characters are just so well developed and so interesting to read. That's my update. I hope you didn't hate this video. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna do this ever again, but this has been really fun journey taking you with me on my little reading sprints. Okay, then I have no idea when I'm gonna upload again or what I'm gonna be talking about, but I will see you at some point in the next video, and I hope you're doing well during this time. Okay, goodbye.